morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to go and look at ourselves a really big, bulky, bad Pokemon V. It's Rhyperior. And Rhyperior is another one of those that generally does get a Pokemon V, or GX, or whatever it tends to be. Actually, that's a terrible example. Rhyperior never got a GX. But Rhyperior tends to get the special fancy Pokemon, so we'll let it off. But it is getting a Pokemon V, and that means that we do get a big old basic Rhyperior. I'm lying to you. The only one it's ever actually got is level X. It always felt like Rhyperior got the fancy cards, but no, we had Rhyperior level X and none of the others. But never mind, we have a Rhyperior V, and if you're looking for a Pokemon that has a lot of HP, is fairly hard to KO, and does quite a lot of damage, this might be the Pokemon for you. Now, our translation does come from the lovely Antoine Boulet. Stop me if you've heard that one before. And starting off with the HP, it's got 230 HP. That makes it the joint biggest Pokemon V we've ever seen. Up till now, the record has been Zamazenta with 230 HP. And this is matching that quite nicely. Except it's actually not, because you've got buff padding. Zamazenta doesn't get buff padding, Rhyperior does. And with buff padding, you go up to 280 HP, which puts you up there with Arceus and Alga and Palkia, the highest HP we see on relevant tag teams at the moment. This is a gigantic Pokemon. And it's got a weakness to grass, and who cares about a weakness to grass? I'm still expecting Rillaboom decks to come around and start being good, and maybe one day they will. But as it stands at the moment, that hasn't happened. Ha ha ha, in your face, Rillaboom. Oh yeah, and you're a fighting Pokemon. Being a fighting Pokemon is absolutely redonkulously brilliant. Being a fighting Pokemon means pre-rotation at least, you've got Diancie Prism Star. Do an extra 20 damage. It means that you have access to Martial Arts Dojo to do an extra 10 damage if you're not behind on prizes, an extra 40 if you are, and that will survive the rotation. It means Karate Belt. So you pay one less fighting energy to actually go ahead and get an attack rolling. There is an awful lot to like about being a fighting Pokemon. Oh yeah, you're also hitting weakness on Eternatus V Max, and that video will be linked in the description, but the short version is that looks like a really, really strong contender to come out and immediately be the best deck in the format. So having a Pokemon that's hitting it for weakness sounds like a pretty gosh darned good thing to me. Also worth pointing out Colossal here. It is a stage 2 admittedly, but it accelerates one fighting and one fire energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon. And the great news here is that you do actually have colourless in all of your attack costs. So this isn't something like Stonejourner V Max that looks at it and goes, oh, I only really want fighting energy, that's actually annoying. No, you can use Colossal quite nicely here. Go team, ladies and gentlemen. Go team. But what does it do? Well, according to the lovely Antoine Boulet, the first attack, 1 fighting, 2 colourless energy, 80 damage, and you discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Oh. Yeah, that's really cool. Now, the attack cost isn't ideal here, but it is actually rather payable. I mean, if you're behind on prizes, Karate Belt won't actually help you too much. You see, the problem is you're not able to use Twin Energy as a Pokemon V, and you're not able to use Triple Acceleration Energy as an unevolved basic Pokemon, so it means you are having to attach normally. But we do have Colossal here, and 1 Colossal plus your attachment for the turn will get you the energy you need, and then you're kind of rolling. And I do think in a Colossal deck, this is a really, really strong contender because the attacks are good and because you've got colourless and fighting energy, so you can make it work rather nicely. Plus, there's nothing to stop you playing Welder with a Colossal deck, and then, even though it would be slightly awkward, you could potentially Welder and then play a fighting energy and get this rolling in a single turn. Now, the 80 damage itself is generally lower than we might like, but do remember that fighting Pokemon don't actually do as much as they say they're doing. So if we look at pre-rotation where we've got Diancie Prism Star, you're up to 100 damage. Martial Arts Dojo if you're behind on prizes, 140 damage. Vitality Band, 150 damage. Do remember Martial Arts Dojo is basic fighting energy. it is not fighting Pokemon. So if you use, let's say you use Karate Belt and Welder, you're not actually going to turn on Martial Arts Dojo. You have been warned. Now, 150, unfortunately, isn't enough to KO Eternatus V Max, though it is enough to KO Eternatus V. Eternatus V comes in with 220. So, actually here, with Diancie and either Martial Arts Dojo or Vitality Band, you get the KO. Or if you're behind on prizes, literally just Martial Arts Dojo, you'll be doing 120, 240 with weakness, you will get the KO here. But you're also removing energy. Take something like Dragapult. Dragapult generally doesn't play much energy acceleration. They do have Malamar, but then again, that's rotating out. And the thing is that if they're attaching manually and you're starting to get rid of their energy, that's going kind of badly. Not to mention, you can start combining this with cards like Team Yell, Grunt, or Crushing Hammer, turn it into a little bit of an energy denial deck. And it is an automatic discard of energy here. You don't always see that. There's an awful lot of you can discard a special energy or you can discard on a coin flip. This is the fairly rare example of just automatically discard any energy from your opponent's active. You should be 2-hit KOing most things. And I've said many times, if you cannot get a 1-hit KO, get a 2-hit KO with a little bit of disruption. So I like the first attack, but if we want to start going really kind of heavy here, we probably need the second attack. And according to the lovely Antoine Boulet, what we see here is 4 energy, 210 damage. This Pokemon cannot use Heavy Rock Cannon, the name of this attack, during your next turn. Okay. I mean, 210 is a lot, but 4 energy is a lot. And again, there's no triple acceleration energy here because you're not an evolved Pokemon. You can use Colossal, but unfortunately it would take Colossal and your attachment for the turn and Karate Belt to get this rolling in one turn if you're behind on prizes. Possible, doable, but not exactly particularly easy, unfortunately. So that's a little bit of a pain. So, yeah. I mean, damage-wise, it's a usual kind of thing. It's not actually enough. We look at Zacian with 220 and we go, really? You actually made this do 10 damage too little to get a KO on Zacian. And that seems a little bit mean, a little bit misery, a little bit, frankly, well, naughty of them. But then again, we then go and take another look and we go, well, actually, you know what? It's not really like that, is it? Because you've got Diancie Prism Star pre-rotation, and then you've got Vitality Band and Martial Arts Dojo. And either Vitality Band or Martial Arts Dojo, even if you're not behind on prizes, will go and get a 1-hit KO on Zacian with this attack. Obviously now if you're hitting weakness against something like Eternatus V Max, you're absolutely destroying it. And to be fair, the biggest, baddest Pokemon Vs we've seen are things like Zamazenta with 230, and this with 230. So time you add on a Vitality Band and a Martial Arts Dojo, even if you're not behind on prizes, you are getting a 1-hit KO on every Pokemon V, which is awesome. VMAX is your miles away. Now, the weaker ones actually tend to be weak to fighting like Morpeko, and you will get a KO on them, because they're weak to fighting. But weakness aside, the weakest we've seen in terms of Pokemon V is 300. So you're miles away there. With Martial Arts Dojo, if you're behind on prizes, and a Vitality Band, you're hitting 260. So post-rotation, when Diancie Prism Star has gone away, that's 10 damage away from Reshiram and Charizard. Bearing in mind they've got that Outrage attack, which is going to hurt you a lot more than you hurt them. And then you've got Mewtwo and Mew that you'll be 10 damage short of getting a KO. And then we've got Arceus and Dialga and Palkia where you will be 20 damage short of getting a KO. And with Diancie Prism Star, you're hitting 280 maximum with this attack. 280 will get all the tag teams, and it's just the VMAXs you need to worry about. But unfortunately, post-rotation when Diancie goes away, you'll be getting all Pokemon V, but you won't be getting VMAXs, and you'll be getting a few of the very weakest tag teams, but you won't be getting the most relevant tag teams. So we end up with a Pokemon, and this has kind of been Rhyperior's deal for a while now. Huge HP, hard to take down, and I do like the weakness incidentally, but the attacks are just a little bit more expensive than I would like, and the damage isn't really quite high enough to justify it, and then we just end up a little bit sad. Never mind. But ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to know what you think about this. I'd like to know how good you think this is, so let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned good nonetheless. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.